because I think we like it. Uh-huh. I think we like interaction, so we're happy for that. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. Cheryl gave such a lovely introduction, but just to add a little bit to it, that I've been an artist my whole life, and for 20 years I've been photographing women as goddesses. My life was literally changed one summer 21 years ago, maybe, when I was I just happened to be going to a camp retreat that was a goddess camp, and I didn't know what it was, and I had my cards read, my tarot cards read for the very first time. Never happened to me before, and I was in a period of transition, and I asked the reader, was I going to have more children? Was I going to continue in that direction? Would I be continuing with my commercial photography work? And she read the cards and said, you should be photographing women as goddesses. And I was like, I don't know what a goddess is. And she said, don't worry, the women will know. And it's like, my head at that point did not explode. My head exploded about a month later when I found myself at a moon circle, standing in circle with about 15 other women it was my first time. They were all instructed to come dressed as their favorite goddess. And in the darkness, under a full moon with a fire pit in the middle, they were all to say the names of the goddesses they knew. I knew none of the names. I was like oblivious to, I knew Greek names, but the others I didn't know. And I looked at these beautiful women who were all dressed up fabulous, and I went, aha, this is what I'm doing. Now I know. And I started to photograph each of these women in the circle. And then it just is this project, this passion of mine has taken me around the world and had exhibitions in Japan, in England, all across the United States, at women's conferences, at museums, at the Rockland Mall, at the mall, the Palisades Mall. So it's taken me very far, and I love it. And the women always inspire me, and I can't wait to share the newest project with you all. So I'll stop there. And Chris, why don't you tell a little bit share about what you're doing?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you, Cheryl, for your introduction. So I'm an art therapist, and an art therapist, we learn how to read images. So that's really something that I'm very comfortable. I've had a lot of experience looking at images, feeling them, trying to understand the narrative that I see in the image. When I was very young, after college, I got a job in the Library of Jungian Psychology in New York City on East 39th Street. It was a fabulous library. All the analysts in training would come up to look up symbols of their clients that had dreams about dragons and mysterious vessels. And so they came to look up the symbology. And that's where I encountered the tarot cards, which is perfect for me because it's images. And then, you read them. So I've been reading the tarot cards for, gosh, it's going to age me here, but about 50 years. And I just love them.
Wow. All right, so let's jump into that. I'm going to share with you what was just launched, the Oracle, Goddess on Earth Oracle. And what I did, I spent the COVID year putting this, I'd already started it, but I really went full hog into it with COVID. I thought, I can't travel, so I'm going to finish this project that I'd started. So I pulled together images that I've been working on, of portraits of women. I'm going to show you here. Portraits that I've taken at different conferences around the world. And then there's a deck of cards. And I'm just going to give you a brief, I don't know if these are upside down, but there are some creature cards in there too. But what they are was I pulled together the portraits of women from around the world embodying sacred stories. And I just want to tell you a little bit about my process, because I think that also adds to the reading of the cards. when I work with a work or interact with a woman for a portrait, it really stems not from me, it comes from the women. And it's what their intention is and what they want to express to the world. And I consider myself really a vessel. I'm really the vessel to share their vision of themselves as their most powerful selves out into the world. And it's like the tarot reader said to me 20 years ago, the women will know. So it isn't me putting it on them, trying to make an image, make a pretty image that's in my head. It's really what do they see themselves as their most powerful selves. So through that process of finding the archetype, I learned a lot. I was learning so much, that I didn't know. Again, I knew so little about archetypes, and the women taught me. So this, the deck is really my way of trying to share what the women knew and taught me with everyone else. It's a way to get their message out to everyone. And I chose this format because I thought it's more interactive. It's a useful tool rather than a coffee table. It's a way that you could really, like Chris was talking about, look at the images, think about what does it mean to you, and then here in the book, read what the women had to say and offer you. Each page, there's the women write their perspective and they give you their thoughts on eeach archetype. So all of that feeds in together when you do your reading. So that's why my intention behind the deck. Chris, you want to talk a little bit about how you as a tarot card reader take imagery and
Sure, we could do, sure. Well, I mean, I just think anything has the potential to be a projective technique, right? How many times have you looked up at the sky and a cloud goes by and you're like, oh, that looks like a snake, or that looks like a fish, right? I mean, it's a very natural thing to see images embedded in things. So as far as the cards or any art goes, you look at the image and you bring to it. In Lisa's case, she has the elements of air, earth, fire, water, and spirit. So if I was looking at an earth card, that I would start there. Okay, this is earth. So we're being given something around getting grounded and getting practical and maybe being in our bodies, maybe exercising or eating well, right? It's earth. And then we'd look at the image. Well, what's in the image? You know, is the person aggressive? Are they expressive? Are they in a more relaxed state? And you read the image to see, okay, what's this energy and how do I feel? Now, I've read for people where, you know, they got the Hermit card and they said, that's my grandfather. And then I just roll with that. So it's very flexible how you read cards, but you get the information from the cards. And I want to just add, because I'm new to Lisa's deck. I mean, I've only owned a set, right, Lisa, for 2 weeks or something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They're very fresh for me, but I did read them at the Edward Hopper House event. And I found that's how you learn to read the cards. You read the cards, and that's how you learn your cards. You just need experience and connection to the cards.
And if I could jump in and add, allowing your intuition to pay attention to your intuition right away, not to shut down. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, even as a creative artist, is listening to your intuition and going with the flow rather than shutting yourself down. And that's true when making art, or even reading. I think both of them, that's an important element too. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
Oh, absolutely. But I think there is still a lot of information in a particular image that and so another thing I might say is, so let's say you get a card that's a snake. Well, I just think whenever you have an image or a symbol that comes to you, the more you can research it and learn about it. You know, you dream of a golden frog. Well, you look it up. Now you can, right? And you read about it and it amplifies. So we're looking at an amplification of the symbol.
Right. You want me to show? I did a reading. I did of the, not a reading, but I did what do you call it, layout, you know,
You
layout.
you put out a spread.
A spread. Thank you. I did a spread for today. And I thought I'd share my screen and talk about, we'll talk about, jump into some of that. Okay, Cheryl, I'll just share. All right, no, host is disabled. You have to, I can't hear you.
Sorry, let me just, I just made the sharing available.
Okay.
Is it allowing you?
Yes. Wait, it's not want to optimize it. Okay. It's not letting me optimize it. All right, this should be good. That good?
Excellent.
Okay. So my deck is based on the elements, as Chris was mentioning. The card on the top right, is that how you're seeing it? Treasure Your Gifts is an earth card. So that's an earth card. It's the goddess Sif. And the story behind that, not the card, but the myth is Siv. She's a Swedish goddess who Loki, the trickster god, came in the middle of, while she's sleeping peacefully in a Swedish woods, comes and cuts off her hair. And that was her treasure, that was her joy. And she woke up, and Thor, her husband, was furious at Loki until he agreed to adorn Siv with golden threads. So there's something, I channeled each portrait with that and came up with saying, treasure your gifts, because she had lost her while she was asleep. She had lost her gift. So that's what that card is about. On the to the left, the snake is flexibility in the water. It's a water card. Chris was just talking about snakes, and there's a lot of rich imagery in that. The air card just below that are two twin sisters, and about duality, about two sides. You can be two sides, be very independent and have two different aspects of yourself, but they're still, how do they intertwine? How do they play with each other? And how do they live apart, but at the same time as one?
Could I jump in and say that I might read that as partnership, collaboration, working in tandem with someone, if someone got that card.
And what would you intuit from it about the quality of air?
Communication, certainly.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Air, communication, expression. Yes.
Isn't it also mental, more mental rather than feelings, rather than in your body?
Yeah, I mean, air, it goes up and it deals with the mind, certainly. Mm-hmm. But since it's the duality card and there's twins, I would focus on communication and collaboration.
Mm. Oh, let's go back to the water, the flexibility, the snake. What would you? Again,
snakes, what do? They shed their skins. So change, right? Power. Mm-hmm. It's the symbol it's the medical symbol for healing. Mm-hmm. So I think snakes are very healing. They're very fluid. They help you maybe circumvent, right? They don't have any legs, but they're very powerful. Mm-hmm. For healing and change and letting go. And the treasure your gifts. Well, it's interesting because I think it's saying two things. I think it's saying treasure your body, be grounded, feel your sexuality, your sensuality, own it all, but don't expose yourself. Make sure you protect yourself.
All right.
To honor your gifts. Mm-hmm.
Mm. The one on the image on the right, actually you can see it right behind me, is Inanna, the goddess Inanna. That's a fire card. And I'll tell a little story about the Inanna myth. It's very ancient, from 25,000 years BC. I mean, it's really, she was like the prime goddess so long ago. She descends into the underworld to visit her sister, And while she's descending into her, who is the queen of the underworld, she comes up to 7 gates, and at each 7 gates there's a guards, and they make her take off her jewelry at one gate, her clothes at another gate. So she's bears herself, comes to her sister naked. And so she's facing the darkness, and then she reemerges after that. So that red and fire, what would you say more about that?
Well, fire is very passionate, and if fire, you know, can be rage, aggression. I mean, I kind of see this as the primal scream, protesting, really expressing, finding your voice. And also could really be a shadow part, you know, our darker selves, the more primal selves that we are, needing expression. Does that make sense to you, Lisa?
Yeah, definitely. The center card, Spirit, is a Filipino goddess, Mayari, who is a moon goddess. Spirit is very different from the other cards, which are, you can touch it, you can touch earth, water, air, fire, but Spirit is sort of intangible, but at the same time considered a vessel. It holds all those together. All those elements are within it. And what do you get from that card, Chris?
I love this card. I feel like she's sort of in a trance, that she has access to dreams and emotions. It's a fairly introverted card, and she is the vessel. If you look at this card, there's nothing extraneous about it. There's nothing around her. It's just her. She is the vessel for expression. And I think it's about simplicity. Her eyes are closed. She's listening deeply within.
Actually, I think that about, maybe not the twins, but very much this whole reading would be very interior. Wouldn't you say about that? I feel.
Yes, it is. It seems very interior. Did you ask a question yourself?
I was just actually, no, I pulled those thinking about today, about our workshop right now. Like what, you know, what would the cards tell me about our workshop right now for the people joining us? So
Oh, great.
Yeah, so if anybody has, does anything jump out at you all from any of the cards? Does any one of those cards speak out to you or touch you in some way? Connect in any way to your lives at this moment? Or not? Okay. Well, I think then the other, we were going to talk about then how to, so here are the 5 cards that I pulled. And Chris, should we talk about the prompt? And
absolutely. So what we thought we would do, since this is being sponsored by the Arts Council of Rockland, is to take a few minutes. We will ask you to choose a card, whatever you feel drawn to, most attracted to, or most interesting to you, and create. I hope everyone brought some paper and some things to draw with. If you don't feel like drawing, you could always write, but choose a card and do a drawing response, maybe to a part of the card or the emotion in the card. Or as I said, you could draw, or to the element of the card. So if you pick the fire card, let that spur your creativity. And I think we were going to take 7 minutes, Lisa.
Yeah. So there's a lot of material right here. There's a story. There's an ancient myth that is very rich. I kind of gave you just little snippets of them. There's an element of the elemental quality. There's then go deeper into the imagery. You know, you can get lost in that snake and the water and each one of those. Where does that take you? And what I think, Chris, what you just said, you can zoom in into just a small aspect of that, of anything of the card that you're picking or choosing to see where you're.
See where it leads you.
See where it leads.
Don't have a preconception.
Yeah, none of this, this is just, again, getting in touch with your intuition, learn to being free, and not to be judgmental. So even when you're reading, not to judge yourself, like, did I get it right? No, everything's, wouldn't you say that, Chris? It's
Absolutely, 100%.
being right in the moment and seeing where it takes you. So does everybody have a pencil, paper?
Markers, pastels, colored pencils.
Does everybody have something like that? Or you need to get it?
I know Kathleen does. She has a treasure trove of art materials.
Okay, Charlie, you good?
Is somebody timing?
I don't know. Are we started? Did we start? I mean, is everybody good with this? Any questions?
Let me know and I'll start a timer.
Okay, excellent.
All right, so 7 minutes. Everybody go ahead and jump in.
time. Okay. The 7 minutes is up.
Chris, you wanna,
Unmute.
yeah,
So how was that for folks? I think we would be very curious to know which card you ended up choosing. Kathleen, which card did you choose?
Spirit.
And why did you choose it?
It felt less compartmentalized.
Do you feel like sharing what you created?
Well, okay.
Oh, wow. Cheryl, there's no way to spotlight, is there?
Yeah, I think there is. Let's see. Let me
Because
just,
it's so hard to see
yeah.
the work and it
give me a
looks very
second.
interesting.
I had you both pinned. So let me unpin you and Lisa. Move pin. Okay. And then, let's see.
Oh, there we go. Wow.
wow.
That's fascinating, Kathleen. That's really, really beautiful. So there seem to be two creatures there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are they relating to each other
Yes.
positively?
Yes.
Oh, it's really nice drawing. It's just regular pencil.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So it seems as though you took the spirit card and you jumped off. It was a springboard and you created these other entities and you have a whole narrative happening.
Well, I took one word, and the word was gift. Gift.
Gift.
Oh,
Really beautiful.
wow.
Has a mystery and a magic to it. And I love the hand that's out with that beautiful magical, looks like some kind of living star.
It looks like a leaf, a leaf. Yeah, feels like you went into a whole spirit world there. There's a whole,
Yeah.
you're in the spirit world.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing just from one card? Well, thank you.
I just want to say, I love the bird-like mask. I
Yeah.
love that. It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kathleen, for jumping in.
Sure.
Appreciate it. So I guess we could stop spotlighting her and see if anyone else would like to share which card they chose. Anyone else? Jerry?
I also chose spirit, and I had two small drawings that I was working on.
Oh,
Ooh,
amazing.
wow.
And I didn't finish coloring this one in, but I think this one was the arrows for direction,
Mm-hmm.
and the double spiral is the intention, the energy, the spontaneity of the spirit, of centering in the spiritual realm with intentions. And the dots here are more like the atoms and molecules in space, in movement. And this one has a spiral again. But I think it's more free flowing of the energies of spirit.
Very beautiful that all of this came out of the spirit card.
So I don't know if you see anything that you'd like to talk about. That was just my interpretation.
Well, I mean, personally, I like it when the artist explains their work. I do see that the one with the atoms has
Yes.
masculine and feminine elements in it. The spiral being a very feminine form, and the arrow and the square being more masculine. So it's very interesting that there's a grounding. While there's a flow, there are still a grounding. And I note the arrow, which is directional, right? So it's giving you an idea maybe of where you are or where you're going. And the atoms, I thought very much biologically, like what's in the body, because we're made up of molecules and all kinds of things, right? And so I think that's a very interesting drawing. Lisa, did you want to weigh in?
I would just weigh in that I would love to see the one with the arrow also, Jerry, if you turn them in different ways, if you showed, they could be seen in any, like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like wild, like they all work. I mean, so interesting to see it in different ways.
And these could become cards of their own. Many people design their own tarot cards. And these are small and abstract. They could become cards that give you guidance.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to learn more about, I have a couple of sets of cards, but I don't have the words to describe when I look at the cards, what they mean.
You're talking about how you have tarot cards?
Yeah, I don't know if I guess they're tarot cards, the sets that they sell in stores. I have a couple of boxes, but I don't necessarily personally have the words of interpretation like
I
you were
understand.
using for the symbolism.
There's some good books out there. Rachel Pollack has written some good books on the tarot. So you might look into that, of course. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it was lovely to see what you created. So different from what Kathleen created, right? So the imagination is very vast, and our interpretation, that's the thing about reading cards or looking at art. It's very subjective, and our interpretations are very diverse.
And if I could jump in, Jerry, that a very good starting point is just looking to see, like the feeling that you got from the spirit card, already took you places. So it's the visual already told you things that you may not have the words, but you have the visual clues.
Right.
Yes, that makes sense.
And when you start to read the cards, I think even if you're looking at art, you can just describe it. I see a tree and it looks very healthy. Well, that tells you something already. There are red apples on the tree. Well, it's bearing fruit. So I think just describing what you're looking at is the way to begin reading cards. I think you will find the words.
Yes.
And I was curious if Charlie felt like choosing which card was chosen.
I actually went with the fire card with the Through the Darkness.
Oh, wow.
Which really is not typical for me. I'm not a fire person. I'm a water sign, and I've always felt more aligned with mutable things. But the imagery and the story behind the card and the it just really spoke to me, and I had a very instant vision of like the duality between light and dark, and sort of like the story reminded me of kind of a mixing of religions, but like the holy fire, cleansing fire from the Judeo-Christian background, as well as the kind of like the traditional idea of fire, of flame, of burning. And I didn't really get very far, and it didn't come out the right colors because I grabbed the wrong pad. But I was
Ooh.
I had a idea that was in my head, a very visual idea of the light and the dark and like intertwining with each other. So
And well, you succeeded at that. And it also, you used the word before, cleansing. It kind of looks like a purification process, you know, that this thing, the darkness is in the fire, and perhaps it will be purified
yeah,
through burning. Burning distills it to its essence.
right.
Very lovely, very lovely. And this could be the beginning of a series of, you know, the light and the dark.
Definitely. Yeah.
It also, can I jump in and just say, it looks like birthing, you know?
Yeah, it does have a very vulval feel to it.
Yeah, something's being born right there. It's from the flames. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like when I was looking at it after, I was like, this is kind of like the normal fire shape, but I drew it this way.
I love it.
So this is just where I went.
Fabulous.
Yeah, really lovely. I think that's so interesting that you chose a card you wouldn't usually go for, the fire. I guess it was speaking to you.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, in that myth, Inanna is the queen of the upper world, and she visits her sister Ereshkigal, who's in the underworld. It's a very deep myth, so I kind of made it simple. But when she goes to visit her sister, and she's naked and standing there, her sister kills her.
Oh.
And hangs her up on a hook, like Christ. This is pre-Christ, 25,000 years pre-Christ. Hangs her on a hook, but she's reborn, and she emerges back up into the upper world, into the upper realm, and cleansed, reborn, and she knows the darkness now.
Wow.
I think you really, like, I didn't say all that, you know.
No, and it's not one that I'm familiar with either.
Well, you went right there. You went right there, you know. Yeah, that's one of the just share that in the book you can read about those myths. So there's information about to be gleaned into the Jungian take on it, or the mythology of it, as well as the women. You know, but you tapped in right in there.
Well, I think that's the strength and the beauty of the cards, is that they kind of trigger or initiate an archetypal experience if you're open to it. And then you may find that channel then is a channel that you can enter and develop in your life. So you may, going forward, you may see how fire, or this idea of purification or birth, resonates with you in the future.
Darkness and light, the two sides that you were talking about, you know, also. Yeah. It's great.
Really fabulous responses, everyone. I'm really impressed and excited about them. I think we need to do this more often, Lisa.
I like it. You know, while you were while everybody was drawing, I pulled another card. So you're interested in one more prompt? Yeah. Okay. I'll share screen again, Cheryl. Is that good?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, wait. There we go.
Fulfillment. That's a great card to pull.
All right, I know. The last card in the deck, the white wolf howling into the atmosphere. White wolf is solitary, but also can live in a pack. It's howling with its breast, its chest expanded. I don't know. I think we should just see where that takes everybody.
Sounds good.
Can we have like 5 minutes? How about like just a quickie, 3 minutes, and then we'll talk about them? Yeah, everybody jumped in already. That's good.
I gotta work all day tomorrow.
Welcome to the club, lady. You're 70 fucking 9 years old.
No, I'm.
Cheryl, are you timing?
Five seconds. Okay. Time.
Okay.
How was that for everyone? Jerry,
Yes,
how did you feel about this card? Oh, wow, maybe we can spotlight you.
I felt like I was drawn to the howling or the sound over here and the vibrations of the wolf howling, the sound that comes from the wolf and the mystical nature of the wolf
Mm,
and nature. These shapes represent nature.
beautiful. It looks like a portal in the center.
Yeah, that's the like a cosmic sound of the wolf.
I love that you translated the sound into drawing. That's fabulous. It takes a real talent. Fantastic. Lisa, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just love imagining that the center, the circle is like the wolf's mouth, like just the mouth and the sounds coming out of it. I love that feeling of how the core, it's such a core aspect of it. It's coming out of itself. I love it.
Yeah, you can feel the vibration looking at it.
You can feel it. You can feel the sound.
Really awesome, Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathleen, what was the wolf like for you?
It was music.
And here we have sound again.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Very interesting. So you heard the wolf howling?
Well, no, I went away from the wolf completely to the sound of an orchestra.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The different instruments and the sound.
I think that's so remarkable that you and Jerry were on a similar wavelength there.
Mm-hmm.
Inspired by the wolf. Magical.
Yeah.
Same circle there too.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Love that.
And Charlie?
Well, to continue the theme, when I saw the card and the word fulfillment, I felt like this instant connection to the howl, starting deep in the wolf, going out to the moon and coming back. So I ended up doing something a little bit like this.
Wow.
Wow.
That looks very vibrational.
Yeah, it was like, to me, it was a combination of like vibrations and also the phases of the moon. I had the very distinct image of the elliptical shape of the moon. You see the different patterns throughout the month. That really, that's where it took me.
I love that you connected with the moon. I think that's very powerful.
I also see a snake in there. That snake, like we saw earlier in the water, which is you said you connect to so much. There's like a wave. There's a wave.
Yes, a wave. I see a wave. Wow, it's a lot of energy, Charlie. Yeah. It's like a surge.
That's what it kind of felt like. The word fulfillment really tied to the wolf for me, because it's like, it's a need that is being fulfilled, but it's also, it's like its destiny is being fulfilled when it howls to the moon.
Yeah.
And that kind of deep connection on a subliminal vibration level, it really, yeah.
Fabulous.
That's incredible what the wolf engendered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, everyone.
Wow, this was fascinating. How did it feel for everybody? The whole experiencing from the cards to your own work out there. It's fascinating to see. Did it feel inspired?
I think it was really interesting that for the second drawing, we all connected so much more than on the first one. I mean, we were all using the same card, but even when Jerry and Kathleen were doing the same card, they had very different interpretations. And this time we all kind of chimed in. I think maybe hearing each other's thought processes tuned each other to us.
I'm astounded by that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm flabbergasted at the direction that we all took.
Well, I think that goes back to the archetype. Somehow we all tuned in to an archetypal symbol, Wouldn't you say that, Chris? Isn't that,
Yeah, something took over and we all ran with it. And I do think that's the power of tuning in like that. I think it also, we do have a community here. We've been talking about this for a bit. We are in the presence of the goddess. You know, there's something very powerful to immerse ourselves in the mythology and in the creation of the goddess is pretty incredible energy. So maybe that's what we're tasting. Maybe we're tasting that rich fountain of energy from the goddess, right? Because everyone here seems to be very intuitive, or if you're not, you've tuned in tonight in a very deep way, which I find striking. And I think it's the goddess's work. Don't you agree, Lisa?
yes, I think she was very present, and yeah, I'm amazed by everyone, how freely, intuitively you all jumped in and were very free in tapping into your own selves, but then we connected as a community and into the universe. Yes, the goddess was there. Yeah, that was fantastic to see. Fantastic.
Yeah, what a great experience. I want to thank you all for, that was a gift. I feel like that was a gift to Lisa and I to experience that with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you so much for spending the evening with us. And Lisa, I'm gonna plug your work. Yeah, I'm gonna plug the Oracle deck if you're not.
Well, I have websites. Chris and I, our website. You can the Oracle deck now is available and from the website goddessonearth.com. That's how to get that. And Chris, you want to talk about some of your classes?
I have experimental art classes where we let go of our negativity, think outside of the box. Kathleen is currently in one of the classes, and Lisa actually came. And you can find the classes at dovetailarts.org.
And also we're, Chris and I are going to do one, something, maybe not this elaborate, but we're gonna be there's a new store in Nyack called Modern Druids. And we're gonna be there July 7th, Thursday night. We're gonna do a conversation, something like that. And we'll be there. We'll be there in person. We're gonna be there in person.
Woohoo!
Talking about reading cards, same thing, something like this. So just so you know. Yeah, so thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank
you.
Great
It
to
was
meet
amazing.
you.
That was fun. It was great.
Be well, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Bye,
Bye.
Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl. Bye.
Thank you.